What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledPeople. I almost messed up there. Actually, I did, but I'm leaving it in there because it's charming, right? This story's called Entitled Customer Demands a Refund and Karma Got Him in the End. This happened a few years ago while I was working as an assistant store manager for a big box automotive retail store. I wrote this down right after it happened. No names were used, of course. English is my first language. Apologies for any formatting errors, and this is a bit on the long side till dear at the end, so let's get on with it. Here's the cast. There's me, coworker, store manager, district manager, entitled customer, police officer, district attorney. The voices are subject to change based on the gender of the cast member, I guess. Because they don't indicate and it's hard, you get the drill. I was working the afternoon-evening shift as I often did. It's just a normal day, customers coming and going. Early on in my shift, entitled customer comes in the store and picks out a set of headlights that he thinks will work for his car. I offered to check and see if they were the right ones, as I didn't want him to be inconvenienced to have to do a return later if he had picked out the wrong item. He declined and said he was in a hurry and he knew he had the right item and to stop wasting his time. I cashed him out and he went on his way. Before leaving, I informed him that our company policy was that if any electronic item were opened, that it could not be returned. About an hour later, entitled customer came back to the store, demanding a refund that I sold him the wrong product. I again informed him of the policy and asked if he had opened the product and tried to install it on his vehicle, to which he said yes. He then made a smart-ass comment about, "Don't you know you have to open it to see if it works?" In no way, shape, or form did I have an attitude when I told him that if he would have let me do my job and look up the part that he wouldn't be in this situation. Apparently, this pissed him off. He left the store for a few minutes, I assumed to calm down, then came back in and told me he bought the right product at our competitor and wanted his effing money back. I told him that I could not complete a return for him. I pointed at the return policy on the counter. He said he didn't give an F, he wanted his effing money or there would be hell to pay. I told him he was no longer welcome at the store and he needed to leave, to which he refused. I told him that if he didn't leave, I would call the police and have him arrested for trespassing and causing a disturbance. He said, "If you call him, I don't give an F. I want my $20. Unbeknownst to me, a coworker was already on the phone with the police dispatch telling them that we had an unruly customer in the store and they refused to leave. Entitled customer finally realized he wasn't gonna bully me into giving him his return and started to walk out while saying, "Don't let me get your bench ass outside of here. I'm gonna shoot you." Coworker was telling dispatch everything that was happening. Entitled customer finally left, and a few minutes later, I heard the crackling of a police radio in the distance. Coworker was telling the police officer that I was the one involved and to talk to me about the incident. Police officer came over to me and asked for and ran my credentials, also asking for the details of the incident. I told police officer what happened and told him we have it on security camera also. I offered to show him the incident and give him a copy as we would be pressing charges. Police officer looked at the footage of the incident and took a copy for evidence purposes. He wrote the report and had me, coworker, and a few other coworkers write statements as to what happened. Police officer asked if I knew entitled customer's name. I told him I did and could also provide his address and phone number as it was in our computer system for warranty purposes on other items. When I told police officer entitled customer's name, he said, "I know who he is. He's a bad dude and do not take his threat lightly." I told him I wanted to press charges for terroristic threats, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. As per company policy, I had to write an incident report for the trespassing and the police officer showing up. I also notified store manager and district manager immediately after the police officer left. Towards the end of my shift, police officer came back to the store and informed me that they arrested entitled customer on outstanding warrants and the new charges. He told me that the district attorney would be in touch with me about testifying in court. A few months later, the district attorney called and asked for me to come to their office to have a recorded interview and to bring any witness statements I had. I did as requested. Once Entitled Customer's court date got closer and I was preparing myself to go testify, I received a call from the district attorney telling me that the charges were dropped, that I didn't have to testify in court. I asked why Entitled Customer's charges were dropped. He told me that Entitled Customer has made a plea deal, and the charges from his warrants were going to put him in prison for a long time. Being curious, I asked District Attorney what the charges were from Entitled Customer's warrant, and he told me, "I cannot release that information at this time." I asked when his court date was gonna be, as I wanted to try and be there. Luckily for me, I wrote the schedule at work, so when I found out the date, I gave myself that day off. I went to court and found out that Entitled Customer had been charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, felon in possession of a firearm, and all the charges that go with it, and multiple drug-related charges. He was found guilty on all charges and is currently serving life without parole. After the court case, I thought to myself that somehow I had a hand in helping catch this guy. Police officers didn't know where he was until I gave them Entitled Customer's address. But to think that they got the information over a $20 return that couldn't be made. I know eventually the police officers would have caught him, most likely over something stupid, like a blown headlight. Karma wins again. Wow. I think it's so funny when huge criminals get caught over something stupid. Like Al Capone, he got freaking busted on stupid tax evasion. All taxation is voluntary theft, and the IRS is a real-life thieves guild. I said it. Is it relevant? No, but I need something to say. Alright, this story's called Entitled Aunt Wants Me to Support My Entitled Mom. Not sure if super entitled to the outside, but to me, they are both entitled pieces of dookie that think they do no wrong. So this happened last year. A little backstory. My mom has mooched off of people her entire life, from purposely getting pregnant with me when she was 17 by lying to my dad that she was on the pill, to living with my grandparents the last 25 years after my dad divorced her when I was 3. There are a lot of stories I could go into, but suffice it to say that she only wants people to take care of her from money to cleaning, and thinks she does no wrong and she's the victim. Often screaming at my grandparents when they ask her to get a job to help since they had declining health and medical bills piling up. "I do a lot around here. I pay for some of the food," with her food stamps, or "everyone always blames me for things," and goes on a tangent trying to guilt trip and bully. My granddad, now that my grandmom has passed away 3 years ago now. There's a story here too, how she declined quickly from lack of care thanks to these people. Granddad wouldn't put up with it anymore and sold his house to move into a nursing home, leaving my mom, her other 2 teen kids, aunt, her husband and kids, and my uncle, who is probably autistic to be honest, without some place to live. This was finalized about 4 months ago. My mom, with 2 kids, is now living in a crappy, leaking, barely functioning camper in a Walmart parking lot. My dad has tried his best to shield my brother and me from most of the insanity growing up, even spending $20,000 in legal fees to get full custody. But it doesn't stop her from asking for money, trying to crash at our places, etc., etc. Eventually, I moved to a different state, and she still doesn't have my address. So on to the entitlement tale. 1 year ago, I got a text from my aunt. It reads as follows. "I'm gonna be a little harsh with you right now at this moment. You and your brother need to stop depending on everyone else to take care of your mother. Dad will be moving into an independent living facility within the next month, and she is using Dad living for free here and not contributing in any way." OP here, she's doing the same freaking thing. "The house stinks in the area where she lives, and it reeks of stale cigarettes and foot fungus and BO. She needs to get her act together, and if need be, y'all need to help her get it together. It has come to the point where there are arguments constantly about her nastiness. Dad being in the hospital for the last few days and now at a rehabilitation center. He needs to have it stress-free at this house, and he needs to be able to sell this house. The one main complaint of people that would come to look at this house was the smell that was in this house. And that should never ever be something that is complained about in a house that is being shown to sell. I apologize if this seems rude, but at this point I don't really know what else to do. You and your brother need to step up and start taking care of your mother some way, shape, or form. Your mother is always boasting that you make $70,000 a year, but yet you never help her out. You are to take care of your parents just like they're supposed to take care of you. If at some point in your life you devoted your life to God, you are still a Christian. Whether or not you live that way or not, are sealed for the day of redemption. If she doesn't find a way to get out of this house within the next week or so, she will be without a house. I'm sorry, but that is the cold, honest truth. She has a car, but she won't fix it. I understand it is an easy fix, but she has too good of a thing with the free taxi service and Brian. The truth of the matter is that she will not have a place soon. Brother needs to help where he can, and so do you. And if you want to start a fight in this house, then complain to your mama. But I hope you don't, and you do the right thing. Now, understand that my brother and I have spent our lives trying to make something of ourselves. My brother just got on his feet and a good job in his early 20s. I just moved to a different state and started to get my life back together after some incidents. I'm 27 at the time. My aunt does the same crap that my mom does. She has 2 kids there and a husband. She refuses to work and thinks she's better than everyone and really annoyingly religious. I decide not to text back. At the time, I was furious because she knows how hard we've worked to be where we are and still is asking us to support our entitled mom. So I decided to copy-paste the text to my dad. Here's where some crap gets ugly. This is his text to my aunt. Sorry for errors in this part. He's not a great texter. Ha! Hi, Aunt. It's Dad. Sorry to hear about your dad. He is a good man, and I've always liked him no matter what was going on. He was always nice to me. Now, that being said, it's very sad what's going on with Mom and her 2 kids, although she has had plenty of time to get her crap together and did nothing. I done everything in my power to make sure that my kids didn't get sucked down by her, and told them this day would come and she won't leech off of them. Well, I didn't raise my kids to be dumbasses unlike your parents did. Sorry, but the truth is, it's their fault that every one of you are freaking stupid. And I mean all 4 of you are freaking worthless and stupid as hell, and I saved my kids and helped them to have a good life. And it is not their responsibility to raise their worthless-ass mom. It's sink or swim, and I would advise you to put her on the street and let her swim on her own. But don't guilt-trip my kids, which are fully aware that this day was coming. And they are not dumb enough to let it happen to them. That stupid little woman will suck the life out of my kids, and that crap ain't happening. So leave my kids out of it and put her on the street where she belongs. I didn't raise stupid kids, and both of them are smarter than all of you dumbasses put together. So take your guilt trip and shove it up your ass. Have a nice damn day. After that, I think my aunt took an exception to the text and absolutely blew up my phone, saying, "I don't deserve this treatment. Is this what I get as your aunt? You've really become selfish." Then she starts talking about how God loves me and crap, and this went on for days. It's been a year later, and I have not texted her back. I will not get dragged into the toxicity and support my able-bodied mother who doesn't want to do anything but get handouts. There are a lot more stories, past and present. Let me know if anyone cares to hear them. It's entertaining at least. Ha! Your aunt got torn a new one. That's a cool dad. That's a cool dad. This story's called, He Thought He Was Entitled to Laughter. A couple of years ago, my mother died, tragically. Unexpectedly, at the young age of 50. It was a horribly traumatizing night and few weeks for my whole family. I have 4 siblings, 3 of which were young teens at the time. As you can imagine, I was not in the best headspace for a while after this, but a girl has to pay bills. So after 2 weeks off, I went back to one of my jobs at the grocery store. It was my second shift back there. I was working the register around 7 at night. A middle-aged white man and his 10, 11-year-old son came through my line. The man started out fine, then proceeded to wink at me and make a stupid joke. For the life of me, I can't remember the joke. Something anyone in the service industry has heard hundreds of times. It isn't ringing up? Must be free. What I do remember is I was at the end of my 8-hour shift and still emotionally decimated. I didn't laugh, just nodded and continued ringing up his groceries. The silence that followed his joke was deafening. Then, "Really? Not even a damn word?" He then turned to his son and said, "Some people have no sense of humor. Don't even try with them. That's why they work at places like this." I feel bad for the son that will grow up being just as poisonous. That's messed up. You better not freaking do whatever the hell the dad did, because then you'd end up making stupid jokes and getting mad and upset when someone doesn't think your stupid joke is funny. Stupid joke maker. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.